The stage is yours.
Hello. Audio is here. Hello, everyone. Super happy to be in the Baltics for the first time. I've had a lot of exciting and good meetings and beautiful weather. I'm here to tell you my deep tech story, a bit about the ups and downs. A few words about my background. I was an entrepreneur for 20 years. Started my first company back in 1999. 5 years ago, I became a full-time investor, and now we've come together to start Node.vc, which is a VC run by entrepreneurs. We're backed by 50 tech entrepreneurs, and we also have experience of building products and technology and scaling internationally. So that's my sort of sales pitch. Moving back a few years, 2001, my co-founder at the time was sitting by his CRT monitor, one of those old gray computers with a roller mouse. He had hair in his mouse. It didn't work properly. He was frustrated. His thinking was, why do I have to chase the pointer to the object I'm already looking at? Why can't the computer understand me? Why do I have to do this? Why couldn't the computer understand where my attention is, what my intent is, what I want to do? There has to be a better way for a computer to interact. At the time, we were working really hard with our first company. Long hours, barely any salary. I thought he was crazy. But he was persistent. I tried to stop him. But after a month of nagging, I said, okay, let's do some simulations. We realized that in ideal conditions, assuming the eye is a perfect sphere, camera resolution 10 times the currently available, this could actually work. We put together a business plan. We went out fundraising. And in parallel, we started to build the product. We recruited some of the most talented co-students from KTH. We were studying at the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm. So we got some of our fellow students on board, recruited them. I guess as a founder, you have to be a little bit naive. It's probably good not to be super naive, but we were quite young at the time. 6 months in, we realized that, okay, yeah, the bubble had burst. VC money was very available a year earlier. But at this point, it was super hard. We had nothing on our CVs. We were college dropouts. We couldn't get any VC funding. It was impossible. And in parallel, 6 months into having built the product, we realized that the whole technical approach we had, it wasn't going to work. We had to throw it all away and start from scratch. We realized we had to bootstrap. We had to find early customers willing to pay for something immature. We started selling projects that eventually ended up in a piece that could be used in a larger product. We started selling project after project, trying to build the MVP, trying to prove ourselves, and just getting off the ground. Side note, one of the first, I know it's been said before here in Estonia, every good company is founded in a sauna. Our first business trip was to Finland. And of course, we had a good workshop in the sauna on the ferry. 5 years into the journey, we'd managed to get to good profitability. we'd grown. We had a revenue of 6.5 million euros. We'd been selling projects. Obviously, we didn't have any market salaries, but it was still good numbers. So I was like, oh, great. Now we're good to go. Now we're self-sustainable. And my co-founder, he was like, no. Now we look good. Now we can raise VC money. So we're 3 co-founders. The visionary crazy guy, who obviously wanted to raise VC money, and the more do-things-oriented people. I was on the tech side. Anyhow, we gave him mandate to raise money, assuming he could get a really high valuation. And he did. So we made a business plan describing how we were going to shrink the technology and strengthen the patent portfolio to be able to address consumer space. We wanted to get into regular computers and to sort of get the technology to be used by everyone. And on top of this, we also had this whole opportunity for individuals in need of assistive communication, individuals with some kind of disability, where, of course, knowing where you were looking could allow for people to speak who could not speak today. We got 11 million euros. I was in charge for developing our MedTech communication series. This was before the iPad. Again, a bit young and naive, probably reinventing every wheel. We wanted to put together an 8-inch communication device, a 12-inch communication device, a 15-inch communication device with a snap-on eye tracking and another snap-on for head tracking, all the different colors of side caps. We used every manufacturing method, and the amount of complexity was huge. We had hot-swappable lithium polymer batteries. We had Wi-Fi. We had Bluetooth. We put everything in there. The spec we used for the product turned out to be marvelous. Customers really, really wanted this. So that was great. We were really creating a market that didn't exist. The slight drawback, I'd chosen the supplier to work with against my co-founder's recommendation, strong recommendation. And at the time, we had a lot of common friends, and I thought I could trust them. I didn't read the legal stuff that much into detail. After this, I've read every contract I've ever seen in detail. This was not only before the iPad, it was before Samsung had lithium polymer batteries catching fire. We had batteries catching fire in the homes of disabled people sitting in a wheelchair. That wasn't fun. We had the product that customers loved, but I was scared shitless that someone would get seriously injured. We had to recall pretty much every device, many of them several times. During a period of 2 years, I was in China 10 days a month. We set up an office there to take over production, to be able to sort of solve this problem. 2 years after hell broke loose, we actually had a new series of products, filling the same spec, but with the quality needed. And in 2015, the company went public. So now it's 2 public companies on Stockholm Nasdaq. It's a bumpy ride. Being an entrepreneur, it's not something recommended for everyone. If you're an entrepreneur, you probably don't have that much of an option. You are an entrepreneur because you can't really sit still. and you really feel you want to make a difference. I think the first years of Tobii were extremely valuable to us. The bootstrapping we had to do built an extremely strong culture. It built a team that knew how to work together. I think what we're seeing now, this was 2001, what we're seeing now is quite similar climates. We have a lot of companies working bootstrapped. You play very close to your customers. You verify the product market fit before you scale, and you build an extreme feeling of working together and a large respect for money. You want to really make a difference with the means you have. And I think it was an interesting journey anyhow. That's all for me.
Thank you so much, Mårten. So maybe we can get the QR code here and see if we can get some questions from the audience. Because while they show the slides, we're not able to show the QR code at the same time. So please be active, ask questions. We have still a few minutes. But Mårten, you built a successful company. But what would you say to your younger self when you were the young founder? What would you do differently, or what would you like to tell yourself from now, when you look back?
I mean, back then we didn't really have an ecosystem, so it was super hard to. I think it's important to have someone to talk to, and we were reinventing too many things. We were doing so many stupid things. We were making all the mistakes ourselves, and I think it's also. I don't think I really had the perspective. I didn't really feel I had any option. I mean, for me, when batteries started catching fire, it was obviously then I didn't have any option. I had to sort of save the company and solve the problem, because it was not only the company, but also you feel a responsibility to all the employees, and obviously you're scared when things start catching. If you have someone in a wheelchair and things catch fire, that is frightening.
But nothing went wrong.
Nothing went wrong. No one was even hurt.
Awesome.
I had a bit of problem with my stomach during those 2 years, but apart from that.
Okay, so we got a question here. Would you do all of it again?
Not the same way.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a hard question to ask. It's not a certain yes, but of course I don't regret it.
Yeah, I imagine. And one more question. You mentioned the importance of company culture. Was there a specific thing that motivated you to put emphasis on it?
No, but I think my co-founder, what he used to say is the most important thing we did with Tobii was that we institutionalized the crayfish party. So every year we have a crayfish party. It's a costume party. 2 weeks in advance, you get split up into groups where you have people from different parts of the company in one team, and you get some kind of. One year we had to make a video and presenting something. You have themes. It's a great way to sort of get people from different parts of the organization to collaborate and work on something totally different. And everyone is 100% dedicated. And I think you have to be as dedicated in sort of that stuff as your work, because it creates sort of, you can't do anything half-assed.
Yeah.
If you do things half-assed, you're not going to be successful as a company. And I think that culture is, but at the same time, you need to do it so that you have fun. You need to focus on being able to have fun within the company. But it's hard to do, but.
Just coming back for a second, but you mentioned before that you didn't have the ecosystem, you didn't really have the support back then. So, but where did you find those solutions, or who did you ask help for?
Now we were 3 founders, of course, reading what's available, trying to talk to people. Then eventually, once we brought in VC, what we're trying to build with Node is sort of a context where founders come in to meet other founders. My co-founder, when Northzone invested in Tobii in 2009, he was invited to these events he invested with Northzone and Creandum as an LP. And he was invited and met with Daniel Ek and, I mean, the Spotify founders and the Klarna founders. And then he got back to us and said, guys, we think we're aiming for the stars, but we actually need to up our game. It's not good enough. And in similar time frame, this whole poker network was, Founder Poker was created in Stockholm, where a lot of these unicorn founders were regular visitors. It's still around. So 6 times a year, we play poker. We're 100 founders and CEOs of startups who get together and play poker.
Awesome, but we're out of time now. Thank you so much for your presentation. Awesome story.
Thank you.
Node VC, Mårten.